Good evening folks, and welcome back to the WTF for another video. I think this is what they call by some YouTubers as a Sunday catch-up video. This is the Gs35b linear amplifier, which I've pulled out from underneath the table, and I haven't used this for, let me see, probably going on for about 6 or 7 years. And the reason why I pulled it out is I wanted to have another look at it because it developed a fault and couldn't use it, and I thought originally that it was something to do with the triode protection board that's in there, the GM4 triode protection board circuitry. But I've had a look at it and I can't see anything obviously wrong, but I did find a fault, and that was with the one of the the high voltage lead, the connector, which I've since repaired. I'll quickly show you that. There's not much to it. So I'm hoping that this old amp, which is quite quirky and it's got its own sort of things with it, I think that probably in retrospect I may not have built it the way I built it, but it does work. Well, it did work, and hopefully now that I've solved the problem I'm going to connect it up to the power supply and see if everything is okay. But as I said, it is quite quirky, and I probably wouldn't have built it quite as I've done, but at the time it does look quite nice. You know, these sort of vintage meters and all the rest of it. You know, for a homebrew amplifier, and when it's working properly, it is quite pokey. So what I'm going to do is I'll quickly show you the top and the bottom. There is an older video from years back, but the camera that I used back then wasn't as good as this one, so hopefully get a better picture of what's going on with it, and you can have a look inside how I made this. So without further ado, let us show you the amp in a bit more detail, and we'll also then connect it up and apply some high voltage and see if it actually works or not. So this is the underside of the Gs35b amplifier, and it's always quite interesting looking at stuff you've built donkeys years ago and not seen for quite a while. But when I took the back off this amp, I was actually quite surprised. Everything actually looks pretty good. And I think I have found the cause of the fault on this amplifier, which turned out to be a problem with the high voltage connectors. Because originally on this amp I was using homemade high voltage connectors, which were from, no, I haven't got them at the moment. I've actually dismantled them, but they were ex-aircraft jet engine igniter leads, which I'd sort of modified with HT standard copper-centered HT leads into high voltage connectors, and one of them, the positive, had come adrift, and hence I wasn't getting any HT, and it was always showing a fault mode from the protection circuitry. So to remedy that, I have built up these SMV high voltage connectors, which are my sort of default HV connectors these days. So let's just have a quick look through this. So just grab a pointer in the form of a screwdriver. It's pretty standard build actually. So along there you've got your voltage multiplier, which reduces the HT down to about somewhere between 5 and 10 volts for the protection circuitry. And this is the most interesting part actually, this board here, which I'll zoom in on. So this board is one of those, if anybody's not familiar with it, it's a GM4 SEK triode protection board. Now, you used to be able to get the boards, and can't remember the chap's name, GM4SEK, I can't remember his name, but he developed this board and used to sell the board, but I don't think the boards are available anymore, but I think the information is still up on his website, and it's quite a nice protection board. So you buy the board and then you have to buy the individual components and then build it up, and it has features like protection for the anode current, grid current, if there's no high voltage. It also has a timer circuit for the heater so that the high voltage isn't applied until the valves had time to warm up. So it's got things like that on it, which, if you've got a very expensive triode valve, it's probably worthwhile having. And I bought this board, built it all up, and I've not had any problems with it. And I think it's, apart from now when it sort of went into fault mode, and I think that's because of the dodgy connection on the HT side. So the other things that you've got on here, right at the back there, is our Pi network, which is, see if we can get a bit closer with the camera. Just refocus here. So it's basically covers 160 to 15 meters, I think I've got it on for this amplifier. And then right at the back there is the cathode compartment, which we'll take a closer look at. There's not much in the cathode compartment, just the cathode choke and the filament chokes, and obviously decoupling capacitors and a coupling capacitor for the RF input. This cathode compartment is supposed to be sealed or reasonably airtight, hence the draft excluder around the perimeter, so that they can build up a bit of pressure, so that the cooling air goes through the base of the valve and then it goes out through the copper heatsink. Apart from that, there's not much to it. Though it does look somewhat complicated. That's our filament transformer, and the other transformer there above it is for the control circuitry. So the top of the amplifier, or the RF deck, is as you can see there, and there's the Gs35b triode with the big heatsink, which looks very nice. And what I tried to do when I built this, it's a bit of a quirky amplifier, because the changeover switch for the tank coil is sort of on the side there, which is probably a little bit unconventional. And the reason for that is because this chassis, because it was one that I'd found, and I'm sort of building stuff into it rather than sort of doing it from afresh. So I had to make do with what holes and what features I had, and hence the RF switch there is on the side. That big coil next to it is part of the tank coil, which includes 160 meters, I think part of 80 as well, if I'm not mistaken. That's about 3 or 4 toroids, type 43 I think they are, sort of wound on bound up together with glass tape, to help with the heat dissipation. It does actually work quite well. I went a bit mad with the copper on the floor there, on the floor of the RF deck. Probably not really necessary, but there are lots of wires going sort of backwards and forwards, and I thought at the time the screening might come in handy, but to be honest with you, probably wouldn't have made a massive difference. So that's what it looks like from the top, and you've got doorknob capacitors, vacuum caps, standard affair for a big RF amplifier. Well, here's the amplifier my Gs35b amplifiers all set up, sitting on top of my 3500Z amp, which has been my go-to amp for the last few years, and it's still fine, no problems with it. And since I recorded the first snippet of this video, and I said it was a dodgy connection on the HT lead, well, it was a little bit more than that, because once I fixed and put the high voltage connectors on, it was still playing up. Anyway, to cut a long story short, I ended up having to try and find out where the problem was, and it turned out to be a faulty shunt resistor in the triode board protection circuitry. So there was there wasn't a direct line between B minus and through the shunts and the protection circuitry to ground, and that was causing the problem. Anyway, it's all sorted now, and it does seem to work okay. So we'll give you a quick demonstration. We'll fire it all up and show you that it does actually work. So stand by, and we'll get it set up. Give those mercury vapor rectifiers a bit of time to warm up, and we should be good to go. The 8728 mercury vapor rectifiers are going quite nicely, so all we have to do now is just switch the HT on into the amp. So we'll just give it 20 watts of drive, and we'll see what sort of power we get out of it. So that's 300 watts and about 250 indicated on the diwer. So this is with 60 watts of drive. So we got about 700 watts on the bird meter. So the gain of this amplifier is pretty standard. It's about 10 dB gain for a triode amplifier, which is pretty standard. I'm sure if I pushed it a bit more, pushed it a bit further, I could probably squeeze a kilowatt out of it. I think my other problem here is that we're my supply, because we're out in the sticks, and where the shack is located, we've got a bit of a stretch from where the power comes into the shack. Bit of cabling which is 50, I don't know, no, about 30 meters I would say, so you're obviously going to get a bit of voltage drop on the mains coming in, so those are all things that are going to limit it. Let's just try it on SSB, because it's quite fun when you watch those mercury vapor rectifiers. Uh, 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. Audio 1 2 1 2 1 2. I guess we've got to do it with the lights off, haven't we? 12345 Golf Whiskey 0 Foxtrot Zulu Yankee. 12345 audio test. 12121212 Golf Whiskey 0 Foxtrot Zulu Yankee. Over. Yeah, you can't beat the appearance of mercury vapor rectifiers with the lights down, that's for sure. Okay folks, that wraps up our little bit of testing on the Gs35b amplifier, and we'll keep it going for a bit longer. You know, it works pretty good, but I have got plans for a new project, probably a new amplifier project sometime in the future, because I've decommissioned a load of high voltage power supplies, and I've got a nice 3CX 1500 sitting on the shelf that needs a job. So with that, catch you all again soon. Bye for now.